What would you do if you realized that you were building a business or a life that neither you nor your family wanted? That's what happened to me. As I look back on my journey as an entrepreneur over the last 30 years in different industries, different businesses, there were moments where I realized that that's exactly what I was doing. One of those moments came when my three kids were fairly young, and I was in my second marriage at the time, and my wife and I decided we were going to take them to Great Adventure. It was a beautiful summer day, blue skies, warm temps, just postcard perfect. So we loaded up the truck with snacks and drinks, and strapped the DVD players to the back of each headrest. That's what you did in those days. And we left our home on Long Island to head to Great Adventure in New Jersey. And before we left, I told my family that we just needed to make a pit stop in Brooklyn. I had to stop by the business. In fact, I had two businesses, two totally different businesses. Thinking about it now is crazy. One was a restaurant, one was a financial services center. The only sane thing about it was that they were literally right next to each other. So I said, look, we're just going to make this pit stop. We generated a lot of cash between the two businesses. And although we had safes and security, you don't want to leave all that cash sitting in your business too long. So I thought I would collect the cash, make a deposit at the bank, and then we'd be back on the road to our Great Adventure. Between finding parking, that particular day, Brooklyn is always brutal, but that day it was just a nightmare. So between the parking and then I got to the bank and the lines were like TSA government shutdown long that particular day, right? So by the time everything was done, my family was done. Everybody was done with me. I was done with me because we were all frustrated. Everyone was disappointed, and rightfully so. And it was my fault. I had disappointed my family, and it was a low point for me. To be brutally honest, it wasn't the only time that I put the needs of my business before plans that I made with my family. And so what do you do when you become aware of that you're building this business, building this life, that you actually feel trapped in it, right? It's not the business you set out to build. It's not the lifestyle you set out to build. But it's not so easy to just pivot, because what you've built supports a certain lifestyle that you have for yourself and for your family, and you have momentum behind it. And so when things are in motion, it's not so easy to just to stop. What I learned to do over time, after many moments like that, is to accept the truth of what it is. For me, at least, as I said, as a serial entrepreneur in different industries, anytime I'm starting, anytime I'm growing a business, just being in business, period, there's a tax to pay. And it's a tax that not only I pay, but my family pays as well. And the best that I've learned to do in terms of that tax, because it shows up in your time, it can show up in your health, it can show up in your relationships, it can show up in your peace of mind. The best that I've learned to do is to be aware of it and then be more intentional to offset it, to minimize it, to manage it. But I'm not at the point yet where that tax, I can say I don't pay that tax, that I've eliminated it. And maybe there are some entrepreneurs out there who figured it out. I am definitely not one of them, but I'm sharing this story in case there's another entrepreneur out there who's building, who's starting, who's scaling, and maybe in a similar situation. I hope that this video is helpful to them. As I said, be intentional. The stress, be intentional about decompressing. So be intentional about exercise. Be intentional about how you eat. Be intentional about your lifestyle to try to minimize that tax. That's what I got for you this week. Strong men, strong families, strong legacies. That's the First Man Project. Peace and blessings.